r/ask Reddit. What's something cool you recently learned about? No one who was born blind has ever gone on to develop schizophrenia. Researchers are investigating how congenital blindness may protect people from developing the condition. I recently learned that people with schizophrenia smoke cigarettes significantly more than those without schizophrenia because the nicotine interacts with our brains in such a way that it's essentially self-medication. My father figure had schizophrenia and died of lung cancer that was misdiagnosed until it was too late. So when I learned about this apparently well-documented link, I was like, cool. On the 21st of December, 2020, Jupiter and Saturn will align such that you can see them together in the same telescope, and even with the naked eye. It's called the Great Conjunction. Edit. To answer some common questions, it should be viewable from most anywhere in the world. In the northern hemisphere, look southwest. In the southern hemisphere, look south. The best time to view will be 30 minutes to 2 hours after sunset. If it's cloudy on the 21st, don't worry. The 21st is just the date that they're closest. But since the planets move so slowly across the sky, it should allow for similar viewing in the several days before and after the 21st. The planets will appear pretty low in the sky, so try to find a viewing location where you can see as much of the horizon as possible in the proper direction. Since there are several nights this will be visible, it's best to try early to find the right spot. Conjunction of the spheres. The shower water on Alcatraz was intentionally kept very hot. This is so prisoners wouldn't get used to cold water and be able to swim to shore if they escaped. But that means the prisoners got hot showers. They should have just given them cold showers and heated up the sea. Considering global warming, I think that is the plan. Rodents can't vomit. This is exactly why rat poison works. They can't vomit up the poison. Couple in the fact it usually has super small tiny glass shards to cut their insides up. It's a pretty hellish and inhumane way to kill them. That's the problem with the poison too. If a household pet gets to the rat first, they're now ducked too. A dog in my family got access a full bag of the thing and ate it. To our and the vet's surprise, nothing happened to her. No idea what the mortality rate is for something like this. After that, she seemed indestructible to me. Squirrels can acquire terminal velocity while plummeting to the ground, on average above 70 feet, and survive 80% of the time. This makes me wonder why flying squirrels ever evolved. For the last 50 plus years, every submarine and aircraft carrier built by the US Navy has been powered by nuclear reactors. What's more, the aircraft carriers have a 50-year service life and only need to be refueled one time. There has also never been a nuclear-related accident on board these ships. 2 subs have sank, but not because of a failure in the propulsion system. Carriers are wild. During natural disasters, they'll even pull up offshore and plug in a power cable to act as a power plant for large portions of a country. That in 2007, Rockstar Games allowed fans to call a number and rant about what they thought was wrong with America. The best calls were featured on a radio station in Grand Theft Auto IV. LOL. That talk station? Cool. Time to re-listen. The origin of the word happiness is from the Middle English hap, which is to do with chance and possibility, as in happenstance or perhaps. So happiness was originally about the feeling of good fortune, getting lucky, the chance that something could or could not occur, and then it goes your way. Happiness is that specific feeling when something that could have gone horribly wrong goes amazing well. Somewhat relatedly, weird word is the old Anglo-Saxon word for fate. The Earth is slowly decelerating, 17 milliseconds slower per 100 years. In 140 million years, the time in a day will be increased to 25 hours. Oh cool. That will be right before I get my Xbox Series X. New fish pop up in ponds because ducks eat fish eggs from other ones and excrete them whole in another water body. Edit. Source smithsonianmag.com link. WTH, this is amazing. I would have never thought fish eggs could survive stomach acids. This has always been one of those mysteries I've always pondered but been too stoned to remember to Google. Museums are struggling to keep the appropriate humidity levels for their collections because of the lack of foot traffic and people breathing in the buildings due to COVID. They'd be the perfect location for the next anti-mask protest. It's illegal in Switzerland to have just one guinea pig, because guinea pigs are social animals like humans. In many places that applies to horses. You're not allowed to have just one. I have one horse, one guinea pig, and their offspring I call Gorsey Higgs. How ducking big wolves are. Honestly, why did I never know this before? This was my exact reaction to seeing a moose. My grandpa told me once that a moose is an ugly horse, and wow, I didn't realize they were really that big until I came across one backpacking. Cats get the majority of their liquids from what they eat. It's why you don't often see them drinking water like dogs do. It's true, except for my idiot cat, who refuses to eat anything but dry food. So she's the thirstiest beach in the world, has her own little water fountain, but she still sticks her paws in everyone's water glasses. They don't seem to see water, like, even in a water bowl or cat fountain. Go to stick those paws in to find out if there is anything in there. Makes me wonder whether they think fish low-key fly. Female seagulls are a different color than males. Only seagulls can see the color difference. This is probably a dumb question, but if only seagulls can tell the difference, how was it discovered that they have a different color? I know birds have extra rods and cones in their eyes that allow them to see colors beyond our range. When cooking vegetables that grow underground, potatoes, carrots, beets, turnips, should start off in cold water. Vegetables that grow above ground, greens, peas, corn, should be placed into already boiling water. Apparently a golden rule, but only just found out about it. I tend to start them both off in hot oil. Ducks are found on every continent except Antarctica. Ducks are the secret rulers of the world, confirmed. Compared to Earth, there is a huge ratio of heavy water in comets and other bodies in the outer solar system. Like, a lot of heavy water. Heavy, man. Although, seriously, heavy water makes nuclear energy cheaper to produce. The mythological reason why our galaxy is called the Milky Way. Basically, Heracles, whom the Romans called Hercules, was a bastard of Zeus, and as a result Zeus' wife Hera hated his guts. Her shenanigans caused Heracles' mother to abandon him as a baby. So Athena found him and brought him to Hera. Not recognizing Heracles, the goddess took pity on him and nursed him. But Heracles was a toothy baby, and when he bit down, Hera pushed him back because OW and her milk splattered onto the sky and created the Milky Way. This didn't help Heracles with the whole Hera hating his guts thing BTW. Galaxy also stems from galactic, lactose. Here in the UK, we have a chocolate bar called Galaxy because it's made with milk chocolate. Galaxy literally means milk. Wombat and some other Australian animals have biofluorescent fur. It glows under UV light. Don't wombats also poop cubes? Yep, I think it's to stop the poop rolling and keep it in a specific spot. The fact that there are intergalactic rogue planets that roam around the space that's in between galaxies. Whoa, I knew there were rogue planets away from stars, but never thought about rogue planets being flung out of remote galaxy arms. That is so cool. Imagine if there was some mole people species inside one of those extragalactic, outside of galaxies, planets that live off of geothermal energy from the still living core. I can only imagine what kind of hypothesis or mythology they might have about what it would like to live inside a galaxy or live relatively close to a star. Really gets the imagination going. Edit. A word. Female spotted hyenas give birth and have sex with their clitorises. This large clitoris allows the females, that are larger than the males, to actually choose the male. They can't be raped because of their pseudopenis, so the social hierarchy of spotted hyenas has females at the top. Astronomer here. The planet Mercury has a tail, like a comet does. Specifically, Mercury's is made of sodium that is in the atmosphere and is stripped away by the solar wind and micrometeorites. What blows my mind in particular, if that wasn't cool enough, is you can actually see this from Earth if you have a sodium filter and a long enough exposure. The hardest part is that this tail is very faint and Mercury is pretty bright, never goes far from the sun. A pic is in the link above. And I just think everything about this is fantastic. Space is just so cool. I'm pretty sure Pluto has a tail, too. I saw it at Disneyland. My new favorite vocabulary word is phonology. Basically, Phenology is the study of the rhythms of nature, observing the changes in the trees and plants and animal life as the seasons progress. While it has scientific value in studying things like climate change, it has also been proven to be wonderfully therapeutic for many people during this past year, when we have all been quarantined inside and each month drearily bleeds into the next. Focusing on the sky and the trees and the birds and bunnies gives you a sense of stability and knowledge that the world is still going on like it has before and we are all part of it. The word phenology comes from the Greek pheno, meaning to show, bring to light, make to appear, which sounds relaxing in itself. That the Little Caesars owner paid for Rosa Parks' place and expenses for 10+ years. That's awesome. Triscuit is short for electricity biscuit and it was the first cracker ever made with electricity. Oh, I always just thought it was because they were the sequel to the biscuit. I'm teaching myself how to read hieroglyphs and man, that language is nuts. A language where symbols don't just convey meaning, they also have an aesthetic function, is wild. You can read it left to right or right to left and the way to tell is to find a symbol with a face, an animal or person and they will always be facing towards the start of the word. It boggles the mind how they were able to decipher all of this, since sometimes a symbol represents a word, sometimes just a letter, sometimes nothing at all but it's there as a support to clarify the meaning of the word. It's all just really cool. Also, do yourself a favor and sign yourself up to r/Ancient Egypt for pictures the most stunning pieces of prehistoric art. Back in the old days sometimes the guillotine would malfunction. It would only do half the job. They would have to set it up and do it again. Nearly Headless Nick? I think Nearly Headless Nick was killed with an axe. That the dog name Fido comes from the Latin fidelis which in English means loyal. That's pretty cool I guess. My rib pains are because I'm skinny. I see we have both spent the holiday browsing Reddit. Potatoes were brought to Europe in the 16th century. What's a potato? You know how human blood shed their nuclei so that they can carry more oxygen? Well, bird blood keeps their nuclei so their blood can replicate itself as it travels across the body. Their blood self-duplicates. Human blood comes from our bone marrow, but by having their blood replicate, bird bones can be lighter so the birds can fly with less effort. Cancer is named after its appearance after it had spread in the body, resembling a crab. Crabs were called that first and the word stems from Greek, if I recall correctly. Also, there is a phenomenon called carcinization, which is the evolving into a crab-like shape, even for non-crabs. This has happened to many different kind of crustaceans, crabs being one type of crustacean. The word cancer is Latin, but they got it from the Greek carcinus, which the Greeks used to refer to a crab, a tumor, and the constellation. So you are correct. Coccinus is where we get the modern carcinoma. Mike the Headless Chicken. He survived 18 months after his head was cut off. It was actually her face that was cut off. The brain was still there. That must have been a terrible experience for that chicken. Usain Bolt has never ran a mile. Being a sprinter, it's normal to not run longer distances, but to not even do a mile is just crazy. He apparently did do a fun run 5k once, but that was more of a jog than a run as it was just for charity. Usain could have easily set the 400 meter record if he focused and wasn't so fixated on the 100 and 200 meter. It made sense in his prime, but after the 2012 Olympics you gotta know that you're not getting any faster and it's time to explore other options. I'd think having world records or at least gold medals in the 3 main sprinting events would be a great goal to have. His OR is 45.28, which means he probably ran it once without training for it and didn't even really try. The last sense you lose before you die is the ability to hear. So if you see someone dying, comfort them. They can still hear you. Tell them everything is gonna be okay, even if they don't know you. It's nice to have a friend there to comfort you even after death. There are certain species of wasp that pollinate figs and then may end up dead inside the fruit. They do end up inside, many of them, up to 20 in one fruit. But those are tiny wasps and very specific species. They've got really weird reproduction cycle that involves the fruit. But fear nothing. Figs produce enzymes that dissolves the wasps, so really they're not present in ripe fruit. This is super general, but calculus. I am currently finishing up calculus I, and boy is it amazing. Like, The derivative and integral stuff, coupled with the sigma notation, limits, and other extra stuff, is mind-blowing to think about. I remember looking at my siblings' calculus homework or some genius main character in a movie manipulating equations on a chalkboard and always thought, wow, so complicated, I will never be able to do that stuff. But when I finish a page of homework, take a step back, and look at all the work that I can understand, it is so unexplainably satisfying. TLDR, I can now understand what I consider nonsense. This can actually happen. It's a real thing. If you have a blockage in your intestines, there's no way for the feces to get out of the body but through the esophagus. You're basically puking your own feces. Horseshoe crab's closest relative in the animal kingdom is the scorpion. They've existed for over 445 million years. Their blood is blue and can sell for $15,000 a liter because various properties make it extremely valuable to medical science. A gamma ray burst, which is a brief, highly intense explosion of gamma ray radiation in outer space, might have been responsible for the mass extinction event at the end of the Ordovician period 450 million years ago. Baking soda and lemon juice can be used to clean anything. Okay, nearly anything. You can't wash the filth off mankind with those. Nothing can. That Australia is ducking hot right now and air conditioners are amazing. Wax cylinder records. Before pressed vinyl there were cylinders of wax that only held about 3-4 minutes of audio and deteriorated quickly enough that people could record other audio on them by shaving the wax down smoothly and engraving it with new audio. I'm fascinated with these things now that I've learned about them. Before wax cylinders people used to record on tin foil. Raccoons are very intelligent creatures. They are slightly less intelligent than monkeys, but more intelligent than cats. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.